everyone, Leanne here from Kingdom Blogger. So in this video, I am going to give you some ideas for your fall content plan. So basically, what kind of blog post should you be publishing for the fall season? Now, I just want to point out that if you are really working on building your ministry, building your blog, and want to generate consistent organic traffic, it's really important that you have an annual blog plan to where you map out your content a year in advance. And when you do that, your seasonal topics, so things like fall or specific holidays, you would actually want to have those published about 3 months before that actual search season begins. That way, hopefully, your content would be indexed by that point and people searching for these things would actually find them. But if you're a little late in the game, that's totally fine. You can publish the content this year and share it on social media, send it out to your email list, and so forth. But for long-term planning, you really want to get this stuff published a little before the search season starts. All right, so what kind of topics should we be writing about as Christian bloggers in the fall season? There's really not an exact answer to that question. However, depending on what type of Christian blog you are. So we have strictly Bible blogs. So those are blogs who literally everything on the blog is about prayer or about Bible study, spiritual growth, things like that. But then we have other types of Christian blogs, which are parenting or business or whatever. So in that sense, there's going to be a big variety of the type of content that would be most appropriate for your audience. First and foremost, you definitely want to do your competitor research. Research your audience. What are the kinds of things that they are searching for online? What are the pain points and so forth? I have a whole course that helps you, a free course, Defining Your Ministry Avatar, which really kind of helps you figure that part out, because that's really going to determine what type of fall content you create. But I have created two checklists, not checklists, but lists, and you can totally print these out and keep them handy. And hopefully these ideas will spark more ideas. These are just some that I captured in doing keyword research one day. And so I am going to click over here in just a moment to those worksheets, and that way you can kind of look through them. We'll talk about them. But in a nutshell, the fall season, there are a lot of things that we associate with the fall season. So fall, August, September, October, basically. I mean, technically, I think winter starts somewhere in there, but whatever. So what are things that we think about? Well, fall itself, like literally the term fall. You have fall poems. You have anything having to do with the seasons changing. You have the fall harvest. You have all that kinds of stuff. The leaves are turning different colors and falling from the trees. In the biblical sense, the seasons of change, but also just, your typical verses and things for verse memorization for children, anything having to do with that. But then if you switch over to the not so biblical types of content, we look at things regarding the holidays, right? So in the fall season, we have Halloween. And I know there's a big divide in the Christian community about whether it's okay to celebrate Halloween or do Halloween. We are not going to have that debate here on my video. I mean, if you want to debate it in the comments, go ahead. I probably won't respond because that's not what we're here to do. But for those of you who do the Halloween festivities, there's a lot of content that you could create, even from a biblical perspective. You could literally break down the biblical content, approach to Halloween from whichever perspective you're coming from, the pro or the against. You can create Christian themed Halloween activities and printables, coloring pages, things like that. And then anything having to do, I mean, even like Halloween alternatives. So what do we call them? Trunk or treats, things like that. So that's just specifically for Halloween. So I'm going to hop over here to this printable that I'm going to let you guys have. And so this one here is literally just the fall stuff. So I've kind of broken it down into, whoops, let me pull that over here, family, kids, and women. So, fall activities for couples, right? So if you're like a marriage blogger or a family, outdoor fall activities. And you can see here, fall activities for families, preschoolers, kids. These are all actual search queries that I captured that had significant search volume. This goes on to other things, bonfires and s'mores, right? Who doesn't love that? Fall camping. Camping's a big thing in the fall because it finally starts cooling down. hospitality, lots of activities. There are a lot of activities, both for adults and for children of different age groups, that you will find search volume for. Books, recipes, that's another big one. And of course, the P word, all things pumpkin. So if you do recipes on your site, or you're more of like a homemaking type site and want to throw some recipes in there. Volunteering, tends to go up in the fall season because we're getting close to Thanksgiving, and that's the time of year, even though we should be volunteering all year, everybody decides to volunteer to celebrate Thanksgiving. Cozy date night ideas for fall. Again, these are just some examples, some ideas. When you type these in, if you're using tools like Keywords Everywhere, when you type these in, you're going to get a whole bunch of other ideas that populate the sidebar to help you kind of either come up with additional blog topics or to expand upon what you really want to write about. So now let's scroll down here to specifically faith topics that relate to the fall season, or that you could relate. Reflections of autumn, the topic of autumn in the Bible, fall devotionals, of course, anything about the fall season, prayers, the fall harvest, Bible verses, along the lines of anything of change and transformation. Seasons change, but God remains the same. That's a very specific verse you could write about. Of course, pumpkin. There's actually a pumpkin prayer, and a couple of other things related to pumpkins in the Bible. Reaping the harvest. These are really actual biblical scriptural phrases that many of these that we are really familiar with. And so breaking those down into devotional type content. Falling in love with Jesus. And then here are some more, 7 laws of harvest, let go and let God. Again, there's really no exact topics, but these are just things that sort of kind of relate to the fall season that you could capitalize on that topic and publish these things during your fall months, just so you're kind of keeping with a seasonal vibe. So now I'm going to hop over to this one. And so this is the one specifically related to Halloween for Christians, right? October, really, not just Halloween. And again, I totally get it if you are on the side of Christianity that does not believe we should be doing it. That is totally fine. But for those who do engage in the festivities on Halloween, this is a huge opportunity for us to go out and shine the light of Jesus. I am a big fan of Halloween. I'm not into witchcraft or any of that stuff, but I use Halloween as a way to really get out and meet my neighbors, let them, see, like, meet actual Christians in a nice, fun, inviting way. I mean, literally, that's the one day out of the entire year that your entire neighborhood comes out of their homes and they're all hanging out with each other. So what better way to share the gospel than to get out there and be with him? Anyway, that is just my perspective. So if you are on the Christian Halloween side of things, here are some ideas. So faith specific, Halloween evangelism, like that's, for me, that is a huge thing. Religious Halloween ideas, Christians and Halloween, maybe just breaking that down. If you don't celebrate Halloween, you want to write about that. Ways to share the gospel on Halloween, right? So you just kind of add Halloween to it. Reaching the unchurched on Halloween, ways to witness to unbelievers on Halloween. All of these, you just add Halloween to the end. Halloween devotionals, ministering to the homeless on Halloween, right? Taking them little trick-or-treat bags that actually have hygiene items and some snacks and things like that. Prayers for safety and protection of the trick-or-treaters. I mean, the kids are going to be out there, and even if they're not Christian, we should still be praying for them. So even if you don't do Halloween, there are some Halloween themed topics that you could write about. That does not mean you're celebrating Halloween, but that kind of go in the vibe of this season. Creative ways to share the gospel and the importance of sharing the gospel on Halloween. Bible verses about serving others and community, because again, we're all out in the community. Creative ways to love your neighbor on Halloween. That was one I really love. Okay, now let's go down to the more family specific ones. That's not really Christian, like biblical in context, but these are things people search for. So if you're like a parenting, a Christian mom blogger or something like that, these are, or even ministry leaders, my church, we do trick or treat. We hand out candy at church on Sunday. We have costume parties or costume contests. Of course, the kids can't wear certain types of costumes, but we still allow them to dress up. And so these are different things that you could write about. So, Halloween costume ideas. Let's see, homemade Halloween decorations, trick-or-treat alternatives for kids with autism. That's a really good one. Trick-or-treat safety, candy corn gospel. That's really fun. The pumpkin prayer, I mentioned that one. Alternative ways to celebrate Halloween. And then this middle column is more about recipes and snacks and things like that. The third column, again, more activities, Halloween sensory ideas. So these would be really great for anyone who is kind of doing the homeschool blog kind of thing, or even just a mom blogger, not necessarily doing homeschool, but maybe you could write content like this to other mothers, right? A lot of science. There's some really cool Halloween science experiments that you will find out there. Lots of fun printables. So some things for printables related to Halloween. You don't have to put big scary goblins and witches and monsters, right? Because that's not really biblical. But you can do, nice monsters and then talk about, fear, like by how God gives us, authority over fear and things like that, and talk about them in a more childlike way. Kids love to color. I actually have some coloring pages with verses for fear that were specifically created for Halloween. Trick-or-treat activities, and decor ideas. So again, these are just some ideas. It really, again, like comes down to who your audience is, who you are writing to, the audience, their needs, their wants, what they are Googling, the kinds of things that they really need. And so whether you're a Bible blog or what I would call lifestyle, so you're like parenting, but from a Jesus point of view, there are so many ways that we can write about things that are applicable in the fall season. So just get creative, maybe use the ones on these two lists kind of as a starting point. Go into Google using keywords everywhere, type them in, and then kind of see the other things that start. I mean, I could have had pages and pages and still not captured all of the ideas that were there, but these were some of the main ones that stuck out, or were sort of the main one that had other ones that branched off to it. And so you'll be able to see those as well. I hope this was helpful. I'm going to try to do some videos like this for blog content ideas for the different seasons and for the holidays, to help you come up with some more ideas for your own site. If you have any questions, please drop your comments below. Be sure to like this video and follow us here at Kingdom Blogger so you know of the newest videos that I release, because I've been releasing a lot of videos lately. My goal, my desire is to truly help you build your Christian blog ministry into one that is reaching people around the world. And if it is your goal to monetize, to help you build a fruitful and prosperous ministry in that respect as well. So anyway, hope to see you. Also, don't forget about my Facebook group. You can hop over there. All the links are down below in the notes section. So God bless and have a wonderful day.